What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Boogie2988 coming at you live once again through the power of the internet, and I've decided to, quote, break the silence, end quote. If you've been paying attention to the channel for the last week, I decided to let Francis take over for a little while. And the reason I decided to do that is because I wanted to pull kind of like an Andy Kaufman style troll here where I just pretended that there was only Francis and that, I was Tony Clifton and that there's nobody left and the Boogie's vacated the premises and the whole nine yards. And I thought this was a pretty funny idea. The problem is I forgot how dedicated and loving you guys are. So even though most of you guys saw through that, you were still really worried and wondering why I was doing that. So today I was going to write this big crescendo for the storyline involving like Boogie and Francis talking in a mirror. And I may still film that because it sounds really fun. But I wanted to just do what I normally do. This is my thing. I just sit down and talk to you guys. So I thought I would sit down and talk to you. And I want to talk about how I'm doing because that seems to be the question of the day. I'm doing really well. And I think the reason you guys don't understand that or believe it is because you've only known about my divorce for a week. I've known about it since October. So I've already gone through a lot of my processing. I've gone through the mourning and the denial and the anger and the depression. I've done it, and now I'm just in the rebuilding phase. That's where I am. And so you guys don't really understand that because you guys are dealing with the stuff I was dealing with 4 months ago. So let me get you caught up, and let me show you where my head is at and where my life is at, and I think you'll feel a lot more comfortable. I think the number one question I get is, Boogie, how's the depression? And it is chronic depression. It's always here. It'll always be here. It's there. It's something I have to work around every single day. The good news is I am working around it every single day. I'm getting out of bed every day. I'm getting 6 to 8 hours of sleep most days. I'm doing my work. I'm getting a video made at least every couple of days. I'm streaming at least every couple of days. I'm taking care of the back end of this business. But then on top of that, there's a lot of new stuff that's being thrown at me. Taking over the bill paying portion of the house and dealing with the people who manage my neighborhood and dealing with the yard work and dealing with the banking stuff and dealing with the IRS and dealing with all of this different stuff that normally would be taken care of by my ex-wife, my life partner. I'm now taking care of. And then, of course, I'm taking care of myself and taking care of the dog and taking care of all kinds of stuff. So I'm even getting that stuff done. Now, that's more difficult on some days than I would like to admit, especially since I'm still dealing with chronic pain and mobility issues. Fortunately, my support structure is incredible. I have a good 15 or 20 friends who are very active in my life, texting me several times a day, writing me, giving me phone calls, showing up at the house, playing D&D with me on Fridays, hanging out with me on Saturday nights. I've got somebody coming over to the house almost every night of the week just to spend a little bit of time together and talk. I have my roommate who's lived with me for the last 23 years, has been my best friend for the last 23 years, and he's been helping me take care of everything. My friend Rob has been taking care of me on a much more individual basis, helping me do things that I couldn't do, like driving 40 minutes to my doctor's office and stuff like that. Thank goodness for these people. And, some new friends as well. Some new friends I've made locally, and then there's my friend Man Pons, who I know from streaming. We've been on the phone several nights a week. I've been talking to my friend Billy the Fridge and Brian from Tolarian Community College here on YouTube and other creators whose names I won't even drop, but people all the way to the top have reached out. People in the gaming industry have reached out, and they've been instrumental. And this has been, I think it's something I read on Reddit. When you're a divorcee, everyone's your therapist. And that's kind of true because I will talk to everybody and run ideas by everybody and tell them the stories and tell them the things and ask them questions and try to get life advice. I'm also in therapy. I don't like the therapist I've talked to the last couple times, so I'm looking for someone new. And I think that's something I'll work on in the new year. But therapy doesn't work as well for me as just talking to friends. But if you're going through what I'm going through, therapy. I've done 20-some years of therapy. I get that, I'm kind of bored of it at this point. After you've done your 20 years, then you can say it doesn't work for you too. But it still works even for me, and that's why I need to stay in it and take care of it. The other thing I hear a lot is your anxiety. What is your anxiety like? Well, I have to say it's better than it's ever been. And even though I'm going through something that's harder than I've ever done, this is the hardest thing I've done. Some days I would rather bury my mother 10 more times than be doing what I'm doing right now. But it's really good. And a lot of it has to do with the support structure. And I can even count my ex-wife as part of that support structure because she's made this very, very easy. And we're still friends and we still talk. And sure, there's negative emotions there. Of course there are, but we push past them to remain friendly and to be friends. And I think that's the right way to do it. We're not teenagers anymore, so we're not going to be like leaving nasty notes in each other's lockers or something. You care about somebody for a really long time. It's hard to stop caring about them, even if the way that you care about them changes. And I think that's the case that we're both experiencing. But anyway, my support structure is fantastic, and that makes me feel comfortable and confident. And when I need to go to places, I'll often have a friend with me, and I'll have a friend here at home as well. And those friends are making things very, very easy. But on top of that, I'm experiencing like happiness is not the right word, because there is a giant hole in my chest that hurts really, really bad. But there is exhilaration, I think, is the right word. Because this is a transitional year, and transitioning my body into the body that I've always wanted it to be and always needed it to be, and finally getting healthier. And now transitioning my home into the home I always wanted to be, getting rid of stuff I didn't like and stuff I don't need to get stuff that I do like, and make changes to the home that I always wanted to make. And I'm able to physically do those things. And I've eradicated my schedule entirely in places of going to lunch and out shopping with new friends and old friends alike. And like New Year's, I'm going to my friend James's rather than hosting it here, because I can do that now. And I'm excited to do stuff like that now. And I just focus on that. I don't focus on the depression. I don't focus on the anxiety. I focus on the excitement and the new stuff. And when I do that, I'm very successful. And I have a support structure that if I begin to fall apart, if I begin to fail, they're there for me. And it's fantastic. I think the other thing that a lot of people are worried about is my eating. Well, that's something you definitely don't need to be worried about, because I'm losing a ton of weight. And I also have a surgery that forces me to eat correctly. So even when I do screw up, I can't screw up. So that's not something you need to worry about. I'm still losing weight. In fact, my goal for end of the year, my goal set by me and my doctor, was 420 pounds by the end of the year. Now, my doctor doesn't like to set weight goals. He doesn't care about weight loss. He cares about health goals. But I set that number, and he agreed on it. He said, that seems like a reasonable weight goal, but you shouldn't be too stressful about it. Well, 420 pounds. Well, I weighed in at 403 on my doctor's scale. I'm weighing in at like 406 or 408 here. I wanted to get under 400, but beating that 420 goal is fantastic. That's 137 pounds of weight loss since August. That's really incredible. 20 of those pounds I lost just between the two doctor's appointments, the one in November and the one in December. So I'm killing it. Now, that is not to say that I have plenty of people who are beginning to think otherwise, because I streamed on Periscope yesterday, for example, and I showed off my house. And in the background of my house was some unhealthy foods, some diet soda cans, some beer, some liquor, and stuff like that. Is Boogie an alcoholic now? No, I just have a lot of guests over, and they like to drink. They like to eat snacks. Boogie, are you back on sodas? No, not really. I have tried diet soda, and it does not agree with me. I think a part of it's the caffeine. It's just excruciating to my new stomach, so it's not something I could ever drink more than a sip or two of if I wanted to, but I don't particularly want to. This is pretty much, as you've seen on stream and videos, this is pretty much what I drink 99% of the time. I will have a fruit juice every once in a while when my friends are having soda, because I miss having something sweet to drink. And that's not the best thing for me, but that's something I will do. But I will come clean about one thing. When my wife moved out in November, I thought I was going to be a bachelor again, so I bought a lot of bachelor chow. That's what I call cereal. It's a Futurama reference, but bachelor chow. I was thinking, I'll be eating cereal 3 times a day again. Turns out I can't do that. Cereal is not fulfilling, doesn't taste good, and hurts my stomach. So I ended up having like 1 or 2 bowls and just gave up on it. I also tried a lot of processed foods, ready foods and stuff. I didn't like most of it. So what I ended up doing is I learned to teach myself, sorry about that, it was my phone, not yours. I taught myself to cook a steak, for example, and to grill some chicken and some stuff like that. And I was leaning way too heavily on restaurants. And even though I was only eating like a third or maybe a quarter of what I would get from a restaurant, I was eating the wrong foods originally. Now I lean towards stuff like getting fajitas in a Mexican restaurant and then making 3 or 4 meals out of that. Focusing on proteins, generally lean proteins, my phone again, sorry. Focusing on proteins and lean proteins to try to take better care of myself, because that's what my doctor wants me eating, but it's also what my body craves right now. and I'm just listening to it. It doesn't want that junk food. That junk food makes me sick. It's so funny because people are like just wanting to catch me screwing up, which is weird because if I was screwing up, I'd probably try to hide it from you, I guess. Like I wouldn't leave alcohol bottles and like Coke cans laying in the background if I was drinking from them. I'd think I'd have enough sense to hide it. But there's nothing to hide. I've experimented, and once again, the surgery is doing its job. I literally got a surgery that forces me to do the right thing even when I am weak. And yes, there have been periods of time during this divorce that I've been weak, but I've let the surgery do its work, and it's worked fantastically. So I'm going to continue to lose weight. I should be losing weight for an additional 13 months, according to my doctor. He said for the first year and a half, you'll continue to lose weight, and then you'll bottom out. I don't know how much more weight I'll lose in 13 months. I certainly didn't expect to lose 130-something in 5 months. Maybe I'll lose the extra 130 that I'm hoping to lose. I know I'll be limited by all the loose skin and stuff. That's definitely become a problem, but not as much of a problem as I thought it would be. But I do genuinely believe I'm going to get under the 300-pound mark, which, you'll still be super fat. Yeah, but I'll be skinnier than I have ever been since I was 12. So I'll take it. But maybe even further. I do plan to join this gym that just opened up about a mile from my house that has a saltwater pool. I'm going to go check it out in January and hopefully start swimming, especially as it gets a little warmer. And just focus again on the excitement of new things and restructuring my life and becoming very independent for the first time in a really long time and enjoy that aspect of my life. And sure, I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to tweet the wrong thing. I'm going to make the wrong video. I'm going to screw up on stream. I'm far from perfect. In fact, I'm pretty much the opposite of it. But I know you guys will bear with me, and I appreciate you. I appreciate that. Because I talked about my local support structure, and they are fantastic. And I've talked about the creators who are support structures for me here too. But I think the biggest support structure, one that I don't ever want to take for granted, is you, the person who's made it all the way through this video. You're the one who makes sure that my mortgage is paid just by watching the videos every day. And you're the person who makes sure that I have a job to do. And that job is fulfilling because I know I'm making your life a little bit better, maybe just by teaching you what not to do, or maybe sometimes teaching you what to do, or maybe even if it's just distracting you for 10 or 15 minutes at a time from your life. It just makes all the difference in the world to know that I can be in your life in some way, and if I'm making it a little bit better, that makes my life a lot better. So, okay, I'll shut up now before I start crying. Guys, one other thing, if you've been catching my streams this last week, I know they've been really crazy. I stream on Twitch for those of you who don't know, and last night, there's a clip floating around. I might even add this into this video, but if not, go to my Twitch channel and check it out, twitch.tv/Boogie2988. I did a push-up for the first time. Didn't even know I could get in and out of the floor. And my back is really mad about it today. My chronic back pain is really bad because of it. But boy, was it worth it. But I'm doing a lot of new stuff. And I'm loving every second of it. So don't worry about me. When there's something to worry about, you'll know. Because I'll come to you first. Guys, thanks for watching. I love you very much. And I'll speak with you again soon.